So the Marvel Cinematic Universe just had its colossal finale to the Infinity Saga, a culmination of 3 phases, 22 movies, and 11 years of buildup. Avengers Endgame. No post-credits scene. No setup for future movies. This was a victory lap, plain and simple, and the stories of the original Avengers are mostly done. No more Iron Man, no more Black Widow, Captain America retired, Hawkeye retired, Hulk retired. The only one still kicking around is Thor, who will likely pop up in Guardians Volume 3. If you're anything like me, you probably felt really content walking out of that theater. You probably also felt like wetting yourself. I mean, come on, guys, you can make the movie 3 hours, but just give me an intermission already. I'm not a freaking super soldier, man. My bladder can't lift a helicopter like Mr. Stars and Stripes over here. God damn. But that feeling of content is a good thing. A sense of finality gives the audience a reason to be invested in the future of the MCU. These new characters aren't going to be immortal gods that win every single fight without any greater consequence to the universe around them. They can get hurt, maimed, die, age, retire, and they will likely have character arcs with satisfying conclusions, just like our original 6. So what's this new universe going to look like without our original Avengers? Obviously, we're going to see more of Spider-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, and Doctor Strange. And you know we're getting Eternals and Shang-Chi movies. But what else? I know that seems like a lot, but Disney has slated 3 Marvel movies every year for the next few years. And while I do want sequels to these quote-unquote new Avengers, I also think Marvel has the opportunity to expand a bit further. So I'm going to break down 4 new franchises that the MCU should create in order to keep their universe expansive, interesting, and eternally growing. I recognize some of these might not be possible for Phase 4, but it's just my dream picks. And to make this video actually interesting, I'm not going to include any X-Men or the Fantastic Four. MCU Wolverine is at the top of every single wish list. Everybody and their mama wants John Krasinski to play Reed Richards and prank Doctor Doom like he's Dwight from The Office. We get it. So I'm going to try to be original in my picks for this video. Here we go. Unfortunately, Universal has the distribution rights to any She-Hulk film. But there's always the possibility of a deal like the Spider-Man one with Sony, right? Well, we can only hope. But assuming Disney could make and distribute their own She-Hulk movie, here's the thing about Jennifer Walters. She's awesome. She's basically like the Professor Hulk that we got in Endgame, but she's a part-time lawyer, part-time superhero. She doesn't have the rage aspect of Hulk or anything like that, she's just super strong all the time. And I think a She-Hulk movie would be a great way for the MCU to sort of fix the problem with Captain Marvel. See, Carol Danvers is unmistakably powerful, but she didn't have a character arc in her movie, nor in Endgame. Her whole film was sort of Marvel's way of going, see, we can make a girl superhero. So to reconcile this, I want Disney to put their money where their mouth is. Don't just have a default female leading hero. Have multiple female leading heroes. Give them contrasting personalities, and most importantly, give her a character arc. Have her learn something and be better for it, just like you do so well with your male heroes. While Carol is snarky and cocky and boastful, Jennifer is bubbly and fun and idealistic. She hates the idea of killing her enemies, and is even seen as a bit naive by her fellow heroes. Lean into her empathetic nature and define a different kind of heroine than what we've been shown so far. Her first movie can be all about learning to accept this new form she has, which gives her freedom and independence from her former life as a more timid woman. It could be a story about self-actualization coupled with Hulk-level smashing. Seeing a movie about Jennifer's life leaping around New York, stopping a crime ring in and outside of the courtroom, maybe we get a cameo from Spider-Man, all of this would be a dream come true, and it would keep this cinematic world a little grounded, because my next picks are anything but grounded. Listen, I know Robbie Reyes is getting his own Ghost Rider series on Hulu. I understand that. But I don't care. Give me a Ghost Rider movie too, with Johnny Blaze. We already know he exists in this universe. He's the guy that gave Robbie his powers. Ghost Rider is such a ridiculously cool character with so much storytelling possibility. You can go to hell, you can go to space, you can stay on Earth and fight various demons. You can make the story personal, or you can make it like a horror film, with the rider hunting someone down as if he were the monster in an 80s slasher flick. I envision a team-up movie, not dissimilar to Thor Ragnarok, where Ghost Rider seeks the help of Doctor Strange to track down some demon that's been poisoning the minds of people on Earth. Or maybe the rider could run into Captain Marvel up in space and have a tussle, just a big old fight with her. Oh, yeah, I wasn't joking before, by the way. Space Rider is totally a thing, and it's wicked cool. He can ride his bike through the stars just like Lobo, and he canonically should be as strong or even stronger than Carol. Heck, have Robbie Reyes make an appearance, and then they can dual penance stare somebody down. Give us Cowboy Rider while you're at it. Make it like the last act of Shazam and just throw in 5 riders on screen all at once. I think the reason I want Ghost Rider so badly is because he can be used in the universe for other films. Just like Doctor Strange was awesome to see in Ragnarok, Infinity War, and in Endgame, Johnny Blaze could pop up in other movies to make things more interesting. What if he had been around to fight Surtur, or Dormammu, or Ego? Trust me, we need Ghost Rider in the movies. If for nothing more than to see his skull and whips in glorious modern-day CGI. Speaking of CGI, that leads me to the next character I want to see. I know I said no Fantastic Four, and I meant it. I want a movie about Norn Rad, Galactus, and some space-based adventure with no mention of the First Family or the Baxter Building. A completely space-based adventure, just like the Guardians movie. That's what this film should be. What I think is so great about the Silver Surfer, besides his dope aesthetic, is that he has a really interesting character. He was chosen to be a herald of Galactus, given a portion of the immense cosmic power, and wrestles with his responsibility to Galactus and his moral need to help others. It's like Superman if his Kryptonian powers came from Brainiac. Not to mention, much of his earlier story was all about returning to his home to reconnect with his beloved Shala Bal. This would be a great way to do a long-form story arc, just like with Steve and Peggy. I think there's a whole bunch you can do with this character, but if I put the writer part of me away for a moment and focus on the geek part of me, what if we got to see him surf on a supernova? What if we got to see him hang 10 as he grinds on a black hole? I mean, if you thought seeing Captain Marvel fly through spaceships was cool, or watching Doctor Strange fall through dimensions was trippy, Silver Surfer can crank that all up to 11. This movie would give us the best eye candy. Seriously, no exaggeration. And not to mention, seeing some of his awesome fan art really gets me pumped to see him in the MCU. I can't even imagine the day where we get to see a comic-accurate Galactus on a theater screen. My head would probably explode. But none of these Marvel heroes that I've talked about so far are my top choice. If you've been following my channel for a while, you probably know the number one character I want to see in Phase 4 of the MCU. That's right. Oh, I love this guy. My very first video is all about why we need him in the Marvel movies. I wouldn't really recommend you go watch that video because my content has come a long way since then, but here's the long and short of it. Sentry's real name is Robert Reynolds, and his power makes him basically unstoppable. He's often described as having the strength of 1,000,000 exploding suns, and that's not inaccurate. He can tangle with Thor, Hulk, Captain Marvel, any of the big guns. But what makes him so interesting is that his powers are linked to a darkness, an evil half of his personality known as the Void, which manifests as a creature just as powerful as he is. Because the Void was so unstoppable, Sentry locked away his own powers and erased the minds of everyone in the world of his existence. He forgot his previous life as the world's strongest hero, and so did everyone else. A Sentry movie could have Robert rediscover his powers and his memories show him at the Battle of New York, Wakanda, and the final stand against Thanos from Endgame. We could see him reawaken his powers, but this time he needs to seek the help of someone to banish the void from his psyche, all while battling some villain of the film. Sentry is like if you took all the interesting parts about Hulk, but added way more intrigue. Bruce Banner is a good guy, while Hulk is mostly good, but is easily angered. The Sentry is a shining paragon like Captain America, but the Void is an evil, more despicable and destructive than Hela, Thanos, and Dormammu all rolled into one. Just like Ghost Rider, Sentry would be a fantastic character for Marvel Studios to keep in their back pocket as a way to make other heroes' stories more interesting. I guess if there's any takeaway from my list here, it's this. Focus on characters that can show a spectacle while also being human and relatable. That's really Marvel's greatest strength. Their characters are incredible and fantastic, but they struggle and grow and fail. We should see a heroine learning to accept her new life. We need a hero trying to accept a role that pushes away everyone he loves. Or a hero who has to find balance between personal responsibility and a duty to the greater good. And we deserve to see a hero with serious mental health struggles. These are truly marvelous heroes. Or just give us 15 Spider-Man movies and 600 X-Men movies. Who cares? We're all gonna go pay to see him anyway, right? Marvel has us by the berries and you know it. They could make a freaking Throg movie and you know my Tuchus would be in that seat. But, anyway, thanks for checking out my video. What do you want to see in Phase 4 of the MCU? Let me know down in those comments. And until next time, stay frosty.